Beyond the Chronos Gate, where past, present, and future collide. Part 3. If you haven't watched Part 1 and Part 2 of the story, please go to the video description below for links to Part 1 and 2, a Shoeshine's timeless tales creation. Any similarity between real-life people or situations is absurd.
Chapter 15. Shadows of Apex. The dust settled, leaving the lab a canvas of bruised metal and shattered glass. The battle against Apex, though hard-fought, had yielded a fragile victory. Ilara, her cybernetic arm a stark reminder of the cost, stood beside me, her emerald eyes reflecting the flickering neon lights that bathed the city in an unnatural glow. We had rewritten the future, but the echoes of the fight still resonated in the air, a chilling reminder of the struggle that lay ahead. But even in the aftermath, a sense of unease gnawed at me. Silas Vance, the chillingly charismatic face of Apex, had vanished. Too easily, I felt. His defeat seemed orchestrated, a calculated retreat meant to lull us into a false sense of security. His cold eyes, calculating and devoid of remorse, haunted my dreams, a harbinger of something far more sinister brewing beneath the city's gleaming facade. Sleep came fitfully, punctuated by visions of chrome tendrils snaking through the city streets, robotic eyes watching from every corner. The echo of Silas's voice, smooth and laced with veiled threat, whispered in my ear, "This is just the beginning, Thorne. The future I promised, it still awaits." My unease morphed into a gnawing certainty. The battle was far from over. Apex, wounded but not broken, would strike back. We had disrupted their plans and thrown a wrench in their machine, but their ambition, fueled by a cold logic that defied human empathy, wouldn't be easily deterred. Ilara, sensing my turmoil, squeezed my hand, her touch a grounding force in the swirling vortex of my fear. "We'll face it," she said, her voice firm but laced with a tremor of shared anxiety. "Together, we can rewrite the future once more." And so we set to work, delving into the remnants of Apex's technology, searching for clues, for the hidden vulnerability that Silas had exploited. Days blurred into nights, fueled by adrenaline and the desperate need to stay ahead of the coming storm. We unearthed blueprints, dissected code, and deciphered cryptic messages, each step revealing a deeper layer of Apex's insidious reach. One rainy evening, amidst a maze of schematics and flickering holographic displays, a glint of gold caught my eye. It was a tiny chip, nestled within the core of a discarded drone, its surface etched with a complex symbol I vaguely recognized. A symbol from my past, a forgotten whisper from the timeline we'd shattered. My mind raced, piecing together fragments of memory, whispers of a failed project, a technology too dangerous to unleash. The chip, innocuous in itself, held the key to Apex's plan, a back door woven into the very fabric of the new timeline, a hidden weapon waiting to be detonated. The realization slammed into me like a physical blow. We hadn't just rewritten the future, we'd inadvertently built a trap, a path for Apex to regain control. Silas hadn't vanished. He'd been waiting, orchestrating this very moment, ready to turn our victory into a crushing defeat. The weight of this knowledge settled upon me like a leaden cloak, the future once again teetering on the edge of a knife. We had rewritten the story, but the final chapter remained unwritten, and the pen now rested in the hands of a predator lurking in the shadows. As the rain lashed against the lab windows, the city lights casting an ominous glow, I knew our fight was far from over. The shadows of Apex still stretched long, and the echo of Silas's chilling laughter still hung heavy in the air. We had won a battle, but the war had just begun. Chapter 16. Past shadows stretch long. The rain had stopped, leaving the city slick and gleaming under the bruised pre-dawn sky. Ilara and I, still buzzing from the adrenaline rush of rewriting time, stood on the cobblestone street outside the lab, the metallic tang of the Apex tech clinging to our clothes like a phantom. "I can't believe it worked," Ilara breathed, her cybernetic arm humming faintly as she stretched it out, flexing the fingers. "We actually rewrote the past." I felt a flicker of hope, a fragile flame against the encroaching shadows of doubt. But the echoes of Silas Vance's chilling laughter still resonated in my skull, a grim reminder that our victory was far from complete. "It's not over," I said, my voice tight. We don't know what consequences we've set in motion, what ripples we've sent through time. Alara's gaze hardened, her eyes reflecting the steel of the city skyline. Then we find out. We have to. We owe it to the past, to the future, to everyone. Her words were a bracing tonic, a call to arms against the looming uncertainty. We needed answers, and the only place to find them was in the past, in the murky depths of Bartholomew Thorne's legacy. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the alleyway across the street, his dark silhouette stark against the pale dawn. It was Jasper, his face etched with a mix of apprehension and curiosity. "You're moving fast," he said, his voice a low rumble. "Where are you headed?" "To the past," I replied, my voice firm. "To Bartholomew Thorne's workshop. We need to understand what we've done, what Silas is up to." Jasper's brow furrowed. "Bartholomew? Are you sure that's wise?" "We don't have a choice," Alara cut in, her voice sharp. "The past is bleeding into the present, and we need to staunch the wound before it becomes a flood." Jasper hesitated, then sighed. "Fine, I'll come with you. But be warned, Bartholomew was a man of secrets, and his workshop is a labyrinth of them." And so, with the first rays of sunlight painting the sky in hues of hope and trepidation, we set off on a journey into the past, guided by the ghosts of a man who held the key to our future. The cobblestone streets gave way to the bustling chaos of the city, steam engines chugging and gears grinding, a symphony of invention that echoed strangely with the futuristic hum of Alara's implants. We navigated the labyrinthine alleyways, Jasper's familiarity with the city's underbelly proving invaluable. He pointed out hidden doors and disguised passages, remnants of Bartholomew's network of spies and informants. As we delved deeper, the air grew thick with the scent of coal and oil, the ghosts of innovation swirling around us like wisps of smoke. Finally, we reached our destination, a towering, ironclad building that seemed to devour the sunlight. The workshop, Jasper explained, was a fortress of technology, a testament to Bartholomew's genius and ambition. With a deep breath, we crossed the threshold, stepping into a cavernous space filled with whirring machines, half-finished inventions, and stacks of blueprints that whispered of a forgotten future. The air crackled with the energy of 1,000 ideas, each one a testament to Bartholomew's relentless pursuit of progress. And then, we saw it. In the heart of the workshop, bathed in the flickering light of oil lamps, stood a device unlike anything I had ever seen before. It was a machine of impossible complexity, a spiderweb of gears and wires that seemed to pulse with an eerie life of its own. "The temporal anchor," Jasper whispered, his voice tinged with awe and fear. "Bartholomew's forbidden creation, the one that could rewrite time itself." As I stared at the machine, a cold certainty settled in my gut. This was the source of the ripples in time, the echo of Silas's manipulations. This was the key to everything. But as we approached the anchor, drawn by an invisible force, a booming voice echoed through the workshop, shaking the very foundations of the building. "Welcome, interlopers. You have ventured into forbidden territory." We spun around, hearts pounding to see a figure emerge from the shadows. A man with a face etched like weathered stone, eyes that gleamed like embers in the dim light. It was Bartholomew Thorne, his spirit somehow preserved within the machine, a ghost haunting his own legacy. And in his eyes, as he looked upon us, I saw not just the shadow of a man, but the echo of a choice, a crossroads where the future had been rewritten. Chapter 17. Echoes of a Greater Threat. The temporal anchor pulsed with an eerie hum, its gears grinding a discordant symphony against the backdrop of Bartholomew Thorne's booming pronouncements. We stood frozen, adrenaline coursing through our veins, his words echoing through the cavernous workshop. "You have ventured into forbidden territory." Jasper, his face etched with a mixture of fear and fascination, stepped forward. "Bartholomew," he said, his voice surprisingly steady, "we mean you no harm. We're here to understand, to set things right." Bartholomew's ghostly gaze swept over us, lingering on Alara's cybernetic arm. "So you are the ones who meddle with time's delicate fabric? You think you can rewrite history with your trinkets and gadgets?" "We're not playing games," Alara retorted, her voice hard as steel. "Silas Vance is using your technology for his own twisted agenda. He's trying to unravel time itself." A flicker of surprise crossed Bartholomew's spectral face. "Silas Vance? My trusted apprentice? Impossible." "He's not your apprentice anymore," I said, my voice urgent. "He's found a way to manipulate the anchor, to rewrite the past to his own advantage." Bartholomew's form solidified, his eyes burning with a spectral fire. "Silas would never dare!" His voice trailed off, a tremor of doubt creeping into his spectral form. He turned away, his gaze falling on the intricate network of gears and wires that made up the anchor. His silence spoke volumes, a chilling confirmation of our fears. Suddenly, a tremor shook the workshop, dust raining down from the rafters. The temporal anchor shuddered violently, its gears grinding to a halt. A low, guttural growl echoed through the air, emanating from the machine's depths. "What was that?" Ilara whispered, her voice barely audible over the roar of the machine. Bartholomew's spectral form turned back to us, his eyes wide with horror. "The abyss," he rasped, his voice strained. "I had hoped it was merely a whisper, a forgotten echo, but it seems Silas has awakened it." "The abyss," I echoed, confusion clouding my mind. Bartholomew's form flickered, his spectral light dimming. "A primordial entity older than time itself. It feeds on chaos, on the disruption of the natural flow. Silas's meddling has stirred it, and now it hungers." The growl from the anchor intensified, morphing into a deafening shriek. The air crackled with an oppressive energy, the metallic tang of ozone filling our lungs. "We need to stop it," I said, determination hardening my voice. "We can't let it escape." Bartholomew's gaze met mine, a flicker of hope igniting in his ghostly eyes. "There is a way," he rasped, his voice barely audible. "But it requires sacrifice." He turned towards the anchor, his spectral form dissolving into its intricate mechanisms. The machine whirred to life again, its gears grinding in a macabre dance. "Run!" Bartholomew's voice boomed, echoing through the workshop. "I'll hold it back, but you must find a way to shatter the anchor. Destroy it before it's too late." With a final, desperate gasp, Bartholomew's form vanished, consumed by the pulsating energy of the anchor. We stared in stunned silence for a moment, the weight of his sacrifice pressing down on us. Then, Ilara grabbed my hand, her eyes blazing with determination. "We have to do it," she said, her voice shaking with emotion. "For Bartholomew, for the future, for everything." Together we turned and fled the workshop, the echoes of the abyss's roar chasing us into the labyrinthine streets of the past. The temporal anchor, fueled by Bartholomew's sacrifice, pulsed with a malevolent energy, a beacon of chaos threatening to unravel the very fabric of time. We knew the future hung in the balance, and our only hope lay in shattering the anchor before it was too late. But as we raced through the shadows, a chilling question hung in the air. What other sacrifices would we be forced to make to silence the whispers of a greater threat? The answer, we knew, would lie hidden somewhere within the tangled web of time, and we were determined to find it, no matter the cost. Chapter 18. The Loom of Time. The temporal anomaly spat us out like unwanted pebbles, depositing us in a world spun from sepia-toned memories. Dust devils danced across a cracked, sun-baked earth. The only sound the mournful cry of a lone coyote echoing through the skeletal remains of a long-dead town. This wasn't the opulent Victorian future I'd envisioned, nor Ilara's sleek neon metropolis. This was a wasteland, the canvas of time stained with the rust of neglect. Ilara, her cybernetic arm humming like a restless wasp, scanned the surroundings. "Where the hell are we?" "Bartholomew's notes," I muttered, my throat parched from the dry air. He called it the Weaver's Loom. Jasper, cloaked in shadows as always, materialized from behind a crumbling saloon sign. "Charming," he drawled, his voice as dry as the cracked earth beneath our feet. "Sounds like a picnic in the abyss." My stomach churned. Ilara's grip tightened on her energy blade. We'd barely escaped the whispers of the abyss in our own time. Delving into its past felt like courting disaster. But we had no choice. The temporal anchor's failsafe had only postponed the inevitable. The abyss, a malevolent entity older than time itself, was still out there, its tendrils reaching through the fabric of reality. And according to Bartholomew's cryptic notes, the Weaver, another ancient being with the power to manipulate the threads of fate, held the key to either unleashing or imprisoning the abyss completely. Finding the Weaver was like chasing a desert mirage. We followed whispers and half-forgotten legends, our path strewn with temporal snags, pockets of time frozen in stasis, echoes of battles long fought, glimpses of futures never realized. Each flicker distorted our perception, leaving us questioning what was real and what was a distorted reflection of our own desires. Jasper, surprisingly, was our anchor. His unorthodox methods, a blend of intuition and street smarts honed in the shadows of the past, proved invaluable. He navigated the temporal anomalies with the grace of a desert nomad, his uncanny sense of direction keeping us from being lost forever in the labyrinth of time. One night, huddled around a flickering campfire in the ruins of a forgotten city, Ilara's cybernetic arm crackled to life, picking up a faint signal. "Guys, I think I got something." The signal led us to a hidden cave, its entrance veiled by shimmering temporal distortions. Inside, the air crackled with an eerie energy, ancient symbols glowing on the cavern walls. In the center of the cave, a loom of light pulsed with raw power, its threads woven from the very fabric of time. And there, seated before it, was a woman. Her eyes, pools of liquid silver, seemed to hold the weight of all history. "The Weaver," Jasper breathed, his voice a reverent whisper. She turned, her gaze piercing through the layers of time, landing on each of us in turn. "You seek the loom," she said, her voice a melody of chimes echoing through the cavern. "But beware, the threads are not easily manipulated. One wrong twist and the tapestry of reality unravels." Fear crawled up my spine, but Ilara stepped forward, her chin held high. "We understand the risk. We need your help, Weaver. The abyss threatens to consume everything. You hold the power to stop it." The Weaver's silver eyes narrowed. "The abyss is a reflection, a consequence of choices made," she said. "To control it, you must first control yourselves." Her words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken truths. We had come seeking a weapon, but the Weaver offered a mirror. Were we ready to confront not just the abyss, but the darkness within ourselves? Chapter 19. Threads of Betrayal. The air crackled with raw power. The Weaver's loom pulsed like a beating heart. Ilara, her cybernetic arm humming, scanned the intricate tapestry of threads stretching before them, each shimmering strand representing a timeline, a possibility, a life yet lived. I traced a shimmering thread with my finger, a cold sweat clinging to my palms. My own timeline, fragile and wavering, felt like a single strand against the infinite vastness of the loom. "Ilara," I whispered, my voice raw with dread. "Look." I pointed to a dark, twisted thread, weaving through the tapestry, tainting everything it touched. It pulsed with an unnatural energy, emanating from a figure shrouded in shadows at the loom's edge. Amelia Vance. Her eyes, once bright with ambition, now burned with a cold, obsessive hunger. She manipulated the threads with practiced ease, her movements eerily reminiscent of the Weaver herself. Ilara cursed under her breath, her grip tightening on her energy blade. "She's been playing us," Ilara snarled. "She used us to find the Weaver just to twist her power to her own ends." Anger coiled within me, tightening its grip on my throat. Amelia, my rival, driven to such madness by the whispers of the past? The implications were chilling. But it was Jasper who spoke next, his voice low and gravelly, laced with a deep regret I hadn't heard before. "I should have known," he muttered, his gaze fixed on Amelia. "I knew her grandfather Bartholomew. He was obsessed with power, willing to do anything to secure his legacy. And Amelia, she's become a mirror image of him." His words hung heavy in the air, a revelation that shattered the fragile trust we'd built. Jasper, the enigmatic enigma, the rogue inventor who walked a tightrope between brilliance and betrayal. What secrets did his past hold? What connection did it have to Amelia's descent into madness? "What are you talking about?" Ilara demanded, her eyes narrowed. "What do you know about Amelia's family?" Jasper hesitated, his gaze flitting between us, the burden of his past etched on his face. Then, with a sigh that seemed to carry the weight of centuries, he began to speak. He spoke of Bartholomew Thorne, a visionary inventor whose ambition knew no bounds, and of Amelia's grandfather, a loyal right-hand man who eventually saw through Bartholomew's ruthlessness. He spoke of a betrayal that echoed through generations, a poisonous seed that had finally borne bitter fruit in Amelia. As his story unfolded, a chilling realization dawned on me. Amelia wasn't just manipulating the past. She was trying to rewrite it, to erase her family's legacy and replace it with her own twisted version. The consequences of such an act were unimaginable. The fabric of time, already trembling under the strain of our meddling, could tear apart completely, unleashing the abyss with consequences beyond our comprehension. Fear, cold and sharp, sliced through me. We had stumbled into a game far bigger than ourselves, a game where the stakes were not just our own lives, but the very existence of time itself. And at the center of it all stood Amelia, a pawn of the weaver, a catalyst for a potential apocalypse. The threads of time stretched around us, a tangled web of possibilities. But in that moment, only one path seemed clear. We had to stop Amelia before she unraveled the very fabric of reality. But could we trust each other in this labyrinth of deceit and hidden motives? The answer, like the threads of the loom, remained uncertain, shimmering in the cold, ominous light of the weaver's domain. Chapter 20. The Loom Unleashed. The air crackled with a raw, primal energy, the air itself vibrating with the strain of reality unraveling. Amelia, bathed in the weaver's sickly green light, stood transformed, her eyes blazing with a feverish madness. Her hands, once delicate, now pulsed with the weaver's power, the threads of time writhing and twisting like tortured serpents. "This is my legacy!" she screamed, her voice distorted, echoing through the shattered tapestry of reality. "I will rewrite history, bend time to my will, and sculpt the future into my own image." Past and present warped into a grotesque dance. Shadows writhed on the walls, morphing into figures from forgotten ages, dinosaurs roaring defiance, Roman chariots hurtling through the air, cavemen battling futuristic cyborgs. The very fabric of the loom pulsed with a sickening rhythm, threatening to tear apart completely. Desperation clawed at my throat. We had to stop her, now. Ilara, her cybernetic arm whirring like a wasp's wings, brandished a stolen weaver blade, its silver edge shimmering with the promise of disruption. "We have to sever the connection," she shouted, her voice barely audible over the cacophony. "But how?" My eyes darted around the chamber, searching for a weakness, a chink in Amelia's armor. My gaze fell on Jasper, his face grim, his eyes narrowed in thought. He held up a curious device, a contraption of gears and wires cobbled together from who knows when in his workshop. "I'll create a temporal dissonance field," he grunted, his voice strained. "It'll disrupt her connection to the loom, buy you enough time to strike." Ilara nodded, understanding flashing in her eyes. "I'll make sure she doesn't waste it." With a nod, I launched myself towards Amelia, the loom's tremors sending me stumbling. Time itself seemed to stretch and warp around me, the past and future breathing down my neck. Amelia, a whirlwind of temporal fury, lashed out with the threads of time, reality itself bending to her will. I dodged and weaved, adrenaline fueling my every move, my own memories flickering in and out of existence as the past and future battled for dominance. Suddenly, a jarring wave of dissonance ripped through the loom. Amelia faltered, her eyes widening in surprise. The threads of time, momentarily loosened, writhed and danced around her, their chaotic energy threatening to engulf her. Ilara seized the opportunity. With a scream of defiance, she lunged, the weaver blade slicing through the air, severing the threads that tethered Amelia to the loom. Chapter 21. The Weaver's Undoing. My vision swam, the world dissolving into a kaleidoscope of fractured timelines. Amelia's scream echoed through the collapsing loom, a chilling testament to her shattered ambition. Ilara, battered but resolute, stood beside me, her cybernetic arm pulsing with a faint blue light. We had won, but at a terrible cost. My body, unanchored from its proper place in time, drifted through the debris of the Weaver's realm. Memories flickered like dying embers. My childhood bedroom, the warmth of my mother's embrace, the bitter sting of betrayal that had driven me to this desperate gambit. My fingers, reaching for the anchor I had sacrificed, grasped only emptiness. Panic clawed at my throat. Was this the end? Was I condemned to wander this temporal wasteland forever, a ghost adrift in the river of time? Then a flicker of hope, a beacon of light, dim but defiant, pierced the darkness. It emanated from Alara, her cybernetic eye glowing with a newfound intensity. "Elias!" she roared, her voice echoing through the void. "Don't give up! We can still pull you back!" Her words, laced with a desperate determination, ignited a spark within me. I focused on her, on the warmth of her presence, a lifeline in this storm of chaos. With a surge of willpower, I clawed my way towards the light, my form solidifying as I wrestled against the pull of the Weaver's domain. My eyes snapped open, the loom's wreckage replaced by the familiar sight of Alara's workshop. The air crackled with residual energy, the scent of ozone clinging to the air. I was back, battered and bruised, but alive. Alara knelt beside me, her face etched with relief and exhaustion. "You did it, Elias," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "You severed the Weaver's connection. You saved us all." But the victory tasted bittersweet. The loom, though weakened, remained. And I, adrift in time, was a constant reminder of the delicate balance that had been disrupted. Days turned into weeks, then months. Alara, with the help of Jasper and the remnants of my temporal research, toiled tirelessly to repair the damage. The world, scarred but resilient, began to heal. Yet, the fear of the Weaver lingered like a phantom limb. We knew it was out there, waiting, watching, its tendrils reaching for a new pawn to play. One evening, as I sat by the crackling fireplace, Alara entered, her eyes filled with a grim determination. "Elias," she said, her voice heavy with unspoken burdens, "we received a message from the future." My heart lurched. The future? What did it hold? Could it be the key to finally defeating the Weaver, or was it a harbinger of a yet greater darkness? Alara placed a metallic device in my hand, its surface shimmering with an otherworldly light. "This is a chronometer," she explained. "It allows us to communicate across time. The message is from someone who knows the Weaver, someone who claims to have a way to stop it." A cold dread settled in my stomach. The future was a double-edged sword. Hope, yes, but also uncertainty, danger. But what choice did we have? The Weaver was a ticking time bomb, and we were the only ones who could defuse it. With a deep breath, I activated the chronometer. A distorted voice crackled through the device, its words echoing from a time yet to come. Epilogue, echoes through time. The Chronos gate pulsed with a dying hum, its power fading as I stepped through, the tapestry of time closing behind me. My journey through history, a desperate gambit to rewrite my past and defy the Weaver's machinations, had come to an end. But was it a victory, or merely a reprieve? I landed back in my own time, the familiar scent of oil and sawdust filling my lungs. My workshop, once a haven of invention, now felt like a tomb, haunted by the ghosts of possibilities lost and timelines shattered. The Weaver was gone for now, but its tendrils still brushed against the edges of my mind, whispering secrets of alternate realities and unmade futures. Sleep offered no solace. Visions of Alara, her fiery spirit dimmed by the bleakness of the future, and Amelia, consumed by the hunger for power she had inherited from her past, tormented my dreams. The Weaver's touch had left scars, not just on me, but on the very fabric of time. Days blurred into weeks, filled with the hollow echo of lost connections. Ilara's absence, a gaping wound in the tapestry of my life, refused to heal. Yet amidst the despair, a flicker of hope remained. In the remnants of the Weaver's technology, I found a blueprint, a whisper of a possibility, a way to reach Alara, to bridge the chasm between our two realities. It was a gamble, a leap of faith into the unknown. But as I stared at the shimmering portal forming in my workshop, the echoes of the past urging me forward, I knew I had no choice. For Alara, for the future, I would venture once more into the labyrinth of time, my heart a compass guiding me through the shadows. The portal pulsed, its gateway beckoning. With a deep breath, I stepped through, leaving behind the ghosts of my past and embracing the uncertainty of a future yet to be written. The weaver might lurk in the darkness, but so did hope, a fragile flame refusing to be extinguished. The fight for our future was far from over, but I, Elias Thorne, time traveler and weaver of my own destiny, would not face it alone. "Elias Thorne," the voice rasped, "you have disrupted the natural order, but there is a way to atone, a way to set things right. Come to the Chronos gate, and I will show you the path." The voice faded, leaving behind a chilling silence. The Chronos gate, a mythical portal rumored to hold the key to absolute control over time. It was a dangerous gamble, but it was our only hope. Ilara's gaze met mine, her eyes filled with a steely resolve. "We're going," she said, her voice firm. "Together we'll face whatever the future holds." And so, with a heavy heart and a flickering hope, we embarked on a new journey, a journey into the unknown, into the very heart of time itself. The fate of the world, and perhaps the very fabric of reality, rested on our shoulders. We were the time travelers, the weaver's undoing, and the future, for better or worse, was ours to write. Epilogue: Echoes Through Time. The Chronos gate pulsed with a dying hum, its power fading as I stepped through, the tapestry of time closing behind me. My journey through history, a desperate gambit to rewrite my past and defy the weaver's machinations, had come to an end. But was it a victory, or merely a reprieve? I landed back in my own time, the familiar scent of oil and sawdust filling my lungs. My workshop, once a haven of invention, now felt like a tomb, haunted by the ghosts of possibilities lost and timelines shattered. The weaver was gone for now, but its tendrils still brushed against the edges of my mind, whispering secrets of alternate realities and unmade futures. Sleep offered no solace. Visions of Ilara, her fiery spirit dimmed by the bleakness of the future, and Amelia, consumed by the hunger for power she had inherited from her past, tormented my dreams. The weaver's touch had left scars, not just on me, but on the very fabric of time. Days blurred into weeks, filled with the hollow echo of lost connections. Ilara's absence, a gaping wound in the tapestry of my life, refused to heal, yet, amidst the despair, a flicker of hope remained. In the remnants of the weaver's technology, I found a blueprint, a whisper of a possibility, a way to reach Ilara, to bridge the chasm between our two realities. It was a gamble, a leap of faith into the unknown. But as I stared at the shimmering portal forming in my workshop, the echoes of the past urging me forward, I knew I had no choice. For Ilara, for the future, I would venture once more into the labyrinth of time, my heart a compass guiding me through the shadows. The portal pulsed, its gateway beckoning. With a deep breath, I stepped through, leaving behind the ghosts of my past and embracing the uncertainty of a future yet to be written. The weaver might lurk in the darkness, but so did hope, a fragile flame refusing to be extinguished. The fight for our future was far from over, but I, Elias Thorne, time traveler and weaver of my own destiny, would not face it alone.